schools are making plans to figure out the budgets, to pay for gasoline, to run their fleet of buses. We're talking about severe budget cuts in our schools. Farmers are making plans to get in the field and harvest their crops, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to make any money with gasoline and petroleum costs being as high as they are. It's just simply wrong for Congress to take a 5-week paid vacation without ever giving it the bipartisan majority that supports comprehensive energy with drilling of oil. And I know that a lot of people are interested in the gotcha game in Washington, D.C. And some people might suspect political motivation by Republicans taking to the House floor again this week. I want to say to you, listening to the speeches last Friday, listening to the speeches that have happened so far and will happen today and through the weeks, and as long as they will be able to stand their ground, has been deeply inspiring to me and to all of us, because what I see is men and women who are giving up time with their families, times in their cherished homes, in their districts, to come back here and give voice to the American people, who are tired of the talk, who are tired of the excuses. They want Congress to come back to work and pass a comprehensive energy bill with more drilling.
Congressman Pence, you said you're going to stand your ground. What does that mean? Are you guys going to stay here until what?
Well, the Republican leadership, working with the men and women you see here today, has organized a forceful presence and demonstration on the House floor this week. I know there are plans underway to organize next week. My answer, how long will we be here? We'll be here as long as we can. But my hope is that as the American people see Republican members of Congress standing in the darkness with the microphones off and the lights out, clamoring for an up or down vote on giving the American people more access to American oil, that they will call their congressmen and women and ask them, why aren't you in Washington? Why aren't you there? Our hope is that by demonstrating our commitment to energy independence and to more drilling, that the American people will rise up and call upon the leadership of the Congress to bring this House back in session and bring a comprehensive bill with more drilling.
Let me make a comment about that, because I think it's important. We had 24 members here today. And while we were here, many of our colleagues who are out across this nation called and said, I can be there Thursday, I can be there next week. Just let me know when you need me. And it's important to appreciate that the leadership that is being provided, not just by us, is also clearly being provided by the Republican leadership. Leader Boehner and Whip Blunt have lent their support to this. This is virtually a unanimous group of individuals on the minority side, the Republican side in the House of Representatives, who are standing up and demanding a vote. It's important to appreciate that, because the House, as you all well know, is a majoritarian institution. The minority can't do anything by itself without leadership on the majority side. And that's all we're asking, is the Speaker of the House to stand up and lead.
I mentioned Michigan has its primary tomorrow. But I think more to the point of me spending time and resources to come here goes to the picture, two types of pictures. Michigan, motor capital of the world, with a governor who has spoken out clearly on the radio and other sources now, saying that she is riding voluntarily her bicycle to work each day from the governor's residence to the Capitol. Now, I applaud conservation. I enjoyed my wife and I having our mountain bikes, and we enjoy riding. But I think my time here with my colleagues speaking for a total energy policy that would allow people to conserve by riding bikes, to enjoy their bikes, doing all other alternatives, is far more important to the 76% or better of the American population who says we ought to increase our energy production. We ought to do what's necessary. And I think Michigan is served better by putting voice to asking the Speaker for a vote than riding my bicycle to and from my office. That's a picture of impact that I think these group of committed members and others that will be coming in ought to say to the American public far more than riding a bicycle.
As far as what the Speaker is being asked to do, I have something additional to ask her to do. One thing she said yesterday in her interview, what you saw in Congress, in the Congress this week was the war dance of the handmaidens to the oil companies. Now those of us up here who are Republicans, we're used to having, being called names by leaders on the other side. We're used to that. But that is so grossly unfair to the Democrats who have common sense that want to see this issue brought up for a vote. And I wish she wouldn't call her fellow Democrats these kinds of names. We're used to it, they're not, and she needs to cut that out. That's not fair to her rank and file. The other thing about the carbon footprint, somebody has got to come here and fight to not only conserve energy but produce more supplies of energy so Al Gore can continue to have his two Suburbans running all the while he's giving speeches so he doesn't have to sweat when he comes back. So I'd ask you to keep that in mind. The other thing I'm asking the Speaker, though, we want her to come back, but she has said repeatedly this weekend she wants to give a vote on a comprehensive package. So I love my friends here. I want to add one thing to that request to the Speaker. Read the American Energy Act and you will see that it is a comprehensive bill. So come back, read the bill, and then we know you'll give us a vote if you're going to be true to your word.
Last question. Yes, sir.
Yes, yesterday Speaker Pelosi indicated that if Republicans wanted a vote, they should use their imagination. Would you respond to that?
Yeah, I was so astounded by that comment. The only thing I could think of was that we imagine a Speaker of the House that will live up to her responsibilities and her oath. That's the kind of imagination that we'd like to implore her to take.
President Price, Senator McCain has signaled that he could look at the compromise bill that's been being discussed in the Senate. It's the same bill that Senator Obama said he would consider. The House Republicans support that kind of compromise that doesn't include AMR, that doesn't include offshore drilling.
Because I think you've heard from my colleagues here, everything is on the table. What we ask for is to have the deliberative process work, which it hasn't been allowed to work. If the Speaker would call the House back into session and we could go through that deliberative process, we're willing to take the will of the House. If we have an open vote, an open rule, an open debate, amendments being able to be offered, I'm confident in the men and women standing behind me and in the House of Representatives who will come up with the right solution. We thank you all for coming today. We'll see you tomorrow.